Welcome to AI for Business Professionals. I'm Dr. Song, and over the next 8 weeks, we're going to change how you think about AI in your work. A quick word on where I'm coming from. I teach accounting at CSU Stanislaus, but before this course, I also spent time on the other side of this technology, working as an AI tutor at a major AI firm in the finance domain, evaluating model outputs for accuracy. That experience shaped everything about this course, especially the emphasis you'll hear me place again and again on verifying what the tool tells you. AI is a powerful colleague. It is also sometimes confidently wrong. A big part of what you're learning here is how to tell the difference. Here's where you are and where you're going. This is week 1. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain what Claude is and what it can do, and you have identified at least one specific way its limits will shape your next real Claude task. That's the outcome. And it matters because every later lesson in this course assumes you have an accurate mental model of this tool. If you misread what Claude is, every technique we stack on top of it will leak accuracy. A quick word on the structure of the course itself. It's built on 2 parallel tracks that reinforce each other. The Tools track moves you from chat to the Cowork desktop app to a brief look at code. The Skills track runs in parallel prompts, then Claude.md memory files, then Skills, and finally a glimpse of orchestration. By the end, you'll know both which tool to use and how to use it powerfully. So, what is Claude? Claude is not a search engine. It is not browsing the internet in real time. It is not a database holding your company's records. Claude is a large language model trained on enormous amounts of text to recognize patterns in how language works. I want you to hear that as a working definition, not trivia. How you read this definition is how you'll read every Claude response for the rest of this course. Here's the analogy I use. Imagine a colleague who has read millions of books, articles, essays, and internal reports. They've internalized how experts explain things, how arguments are structured, how problems get solved. When you ask them a question, they work out the most likely answer by predicting which words and ideas typically follow one another. That, essentially, is Claude. It reads your prompt, understands the context, and builds its response one word at a time, each word the most likely next one, given everything before it. Now, what Claude cannot do, I want you to hear these 3 as a practitioner's checklist, not a disclaimer. These are the 3 questions an experienced user silently asks themselves as they read any Claude output. First, does this answer depend on something that happened after Claude's training cutoff? Claude doesn't browse the internet by default, and its training has a cutoff date. If your task depends on this morning's news, today's stock price, or last week's internal memo, Claude cannot know it unless you paste it in. Second, does this answer depend on something from an earlier conversation? Claude does not automatically remember past chats. Each new conversation starts fresh. That's a privacy feature, but it means that if you want Claude to stay in context across sessions, you need tools like projects or Claude.md, and we'll get to both. Third, and this is the important one, does this answer sound too clean to be true? Claude can sound completely confident about things it is completely wrong about. It can invent a citation, misremember a date, or give you authoritative advice that is simply incorrect. We call this hallucination, and in lesson 1.5, I'll show you exactly how to catch it. The rule is simple. You are responsible for every piece of output that leaves your desk. Claude is not. The common mistake beginners make is skipping those three questions because Claude sounds fluent. Fluency is not accuracy. One of the things you are practicing all the way through this course is reading Claude like a skeptical colleague, not a search result. Now I'd like you to make this concrete. Pause the video. Think of one specific task you are planning to use Claude for this week, a report, an email, an analysis, a first draft of anything. Then ask yourself, which of the three limits, no live internet, no memory between chats, or the risk of confident mistakes, is most likely to affect the quality of what Claude gives you on that task? Take about 30 seconds. Come back when you have an answer. Good. Hold on to that answer. You're going to use it in a moment. Quickly, on the $20 Claude Pro plan, because that's the ceiling for this whole course, Pro gets you access to multiple models: Haiku when you want fast, Sonnet as your all-rounder, and Opus for deeper reasoning. You get generous usage, projects for organizing work by topic, artifacts so Claude can produce documents and tools inside the chat window, and file uploads so you can drop in PDFs, spreadsheets, and images. That is the full toolset for the first 5 weeks. A quick look at the 8-week road. This week, Module 1, Chat and Basic Prompting. Weeks 2 and 3, Advanced Prompting, Persona, Few-shot, Chain of thought, and unambiguous language. Weeks 4 and 5, we move into the Cowork desktop app and the Claude.md memory file. Week 6 and 7, Skills, reusable workflows built from your best prompts. Week 8 is your capstone, a portfolio-grade package you could hand to an employer, plus a short look at what lies beyond Cowork. One more thing before we finish. You do not need to code. You do not need to be a tech person. Every concept in this course is taught through the Claude website or the Cowork desktop app, both designed for human beings, not programmers. What you need is willingness to experiment and the habit of verifying what you see. Here is what I want you to do before the next lesson, and it will take about 2 minutes. Open the Week 1 discussion board on Canvas. In one sentence, name the Claude task you were thinking about during the pause a moment ago, and name which of the three limits, no live internet, no memory between chats, or the risk of confident mistakes, is most likely to affect it. One sentence is enough. That sentence is how you'll enter Lesson 1.2. Up next, in Lesson 1.2, we'll set up your Claude Pro account and take a full tour of the interface. You'll see where everything is, why each feature exists, and how to move through it with confidence. Ready? Let's go.